Hello everyone, this is Peter Titterington here, co-founder of Bridgetown Analytics, with a very exciting tutorial today. So we've been walking through how to upload a file and create some metrics and then turn those metrics into formulas, and today we're going to actually run a bridge. So let's go ahead and log in. Just to refresh your memory, here's our available files. We uploaded this one called Bakery Ops Data. We created these metrics, we created the formats of the metrics, and then we created bridge formulas. So we have our revenue per order and we have our revenue per order breakout, which is revenue per order cake times basket size. So we've done the prep work. Now we get to just let the sweet bridging algorithm do its work. So up here you'll see a green button that's now active, now that we have some bridge formulas, that says set up a bridge analysis. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and I come to the bridge run settings page. So this is where we configure the preliminary bridge analysis. So if you've already watched our video called What is a Bridge, you know what we're talking about, so I'm not going to get into exactly what a bridge is right now. This is how to set it up though. So in this data set we have two time periods, prior year and current year. So I'm going to say prior year versus current year revenue analysis. So we want to give it a friendly name for our analyst population so we know what it is we're trying to do. The next box is filtering and labeling your data sets. So scenario A is the combination of filters that's going to comprise the left-hand side of our bridge. So it's our starting point or our baseline. It's the data we want to compare against. So in this case, I'm going to say prior year as the human readable name. And down here in the filter column section, I can choose any of the categorical columns. So the system has already cataloged which columns are available as categorical. I'm going to select prior year type. So when I select prior year type, you'll see these filter values populate because the system has already logged the validated values for that field. So it's really easy to use. Prior year type, and I'm going to select prior year. Now over on the right hand side, or scenario B, so this will be the test or the the end point of the comparison. I'm going to say current year. So same thing, I'll pick prior year type as my filter and click current year as my value. So these scenarios are really easy and flexible to set up. You can add multiple combinations of any type of categorical variable, multi-selects, all that stuff. But for this tutorial, we're going to keep it real simple. So prior year type, prior year on the left, current year on the right. Cool. Now we're going to give the bridge engine some categorical information to help us understand how the prior year is different than the current year. So again, all those categorical variables are available. I'm just going to pick state name. So we're going to understand how our bridge works in terms of how the geography is impacting our revenue performance. And finally, in step 4, we choose an equation for our statistics. So right now, if you remember, we have two formulas that are valid, one called revenue per order and one called revenue per order breakout. So for this one, I'm going to just select revenue per order. We'll keep it real simple, and then all I have to do is click submit bridge. So normally this is where your analysts would be building a spreadsheet and putting a bunch of formulas together and hopefully doing it right, but maybe not. But that's why the Bridgetown system exists, is to just answer these questions really quickly and reliably. So our server has processed that request, and here's our result. So this is a bridge results page. In the prior video, What is a Bridge, I covered all the pieces of this. But just as a quick review, here's the question we asked, prior year versus current year analysis. This is the waterfall chart that visualizes our results. So we're going from the prior year's revenue of 985 million to the current year's of 903 million. And it's illustrating that the main downsides are coming in Washington State and Oregon from a total revenue standpoint. English language output of the bridge is on the right here. So this is a summary like an analyst or you know, a business operations person might write in order to communicate what's driving these changes. And here's the results summary table. So it includes the revenue, prior year, current year, the revenue change, percent change, and then the impact that each state is driving to this overall change in revenue, which is minus 81 million in this case. So there's lots of ways to view the bridges. We'll start with the sort of overall, I call it like the denominator view, in this case revenue. But we can also look at it in terms of revenue by driver. Actually, I want to say revenue per order by driver. So instead of looking at the totals, we can look at the change in the unit economics. So revenue going from 48.68 to 48.30, with the revenue per order driving negative 50 cents a change, and the mix of states driving about 10 cents a change. So a very simple bridge, tells a very simple story, namely that our change in revenue per order, mostly within Oregon, I can see minus 16 million within Oregon, or I can take this view here. That'll show me the revenue per order change by state is driving most of our downside. And our top level revenue is down about 82 million, with 54 million of that coming in Oregon. So pretty simple. But to add another layer of subtlety to this, we can take this same bridge and start to iterate on it. So we might say, well, that's interesting. I want to know by state name how that analysis works. But by going up to the extra info and quick submit here, we can start adding additional layers of analysis by category. So we might want to understand by state name and by cake type, for example, how does this analysis look? So here, instead of building another spreadsheet, I'm just going to click resubmit. I'll go to the request so we can see it run. You can see those run statuses changing as the bridge engine does its work. No calculation errors. Now we have the same bridge, but each one of these revenue changes is now clickable. So I can see, I want to understand what's going on in Oregon. So if we remember, we got about 90 cents per order of total change being driven in Oregon. So I'm going to click that 53,995 and see my cake types that are driving these changes. So in this case, cake type is a code, so it's not really that helpful. So you're like, okay, well, what I want to do instead of cake type is look at cake type group, which is maybe some metadata that we've added to the data set. So I'm just kind of illustrating how easy it is to iterate on the Bridgetown platform here rather than building new tools or configuring new analyses. Bridgetown's actually like doing calculations and surfacing these impacts. So now I click on Oregon and look at this. I've got a change of minus 53.9 million, right? Same change we saw up here, minus 53.9 million, but it's now broken into the types of cakes. So I can see most of that change is coming from our twice baked cakes. And these tables also expand from left to right. So I can see not only what's the total revenue change being driven here, but what's the revenue per order for each type of cake. And if I look at the contribution, I can see that actually the twice baked cakes on a revenue per order basis are driving the most unit economic change. So let's look at the twice baked cakes here. Twice baked. Last year we sold them for an average order of 71.11. Now it's 65.04. Whereas if we look at the top level revenue story, it's the twice baked cakes. That's being driven by actual volume change, order impact. So if I look here, last year we sold 2.36 million. This year we're only selling 1.9 million. So the bridge engine is just very cleanly teasing apart these moving pieces. Is this impact being driven by volume change? Is it being driven by the mix. Is it being driven by the change in revenue per order? So if we look at, for example, this view here, we can see that the total change in revenue per order is being driven by 55 cents of the type of cake and about $1 of degradation in price. So remember, we also have another formula we created, which is called the revenue per order breakout. So I'm going to take this bridge, click on the extra info, quick submit, and instead of resubmitting, I'm going to clone this to a new bridge. So that'll keep all the same settings. And here I'm going to say with RPO breakout. I'm going to leave all these settings the same, but instead of revenue per order, I'm going to select revenue per order breakout. Submit bridge. Server is going to pick up this request and go do its thing. And we're going to have another dimension of analysis where the change due to revenue per order is cleanly separated into the change due to revenue per cake and basket size. Okay, so top level analysis looks the same, but now you'll see two additional columns, revenue per cake impact and basket size impact. So I'm going to go down to that same level we were looking at before, so I'm going to click on Oregon. I'm going to go look at the revenue per order by driver. Aha, now instead of seeing $1 of change due to revenue per order, I see negative 79 cents due to revenue per cake, negative 18 cents due to basket size. And if you remember, the twice baked cakes were driving a lot of unit economic variance, and minus 108 on our overall Oregon orders. So if I look at the twice baked cakes in our report, there's our change in revenue per order from 71.11 down to 65.04. Right? But I can see that that change is being driven almost entirely by the amount of revenue per cake rather than the basket size associated with twice baked cakes. So if I look at that metric, our revenue, so that's really our pricing, right, has gone from 43.34 to 39.94. That's an impact worth $11 million. The basket size got a little bit worse from 1.63 to 64 to 1.63, but that was only one of the 11 million of change. So by using those bridge formulas, we can really quickly get mathematical insight into what's really driving those changes. And if we're clever in how we set up our formulas, we can get really quick, insightful, operationally useful insights from this data in, seconds, which normally would take analysts or a team of analysts, days to work through. That's really the power of Bridgetown. So that's the quick tutorial on using formulas to create a bridge from scratch. If I want to go back and look at those bridges, I can go to Site Navigation. Under the bridge area, there's Bridge Runs, and that's going to show me the current bridge runs. So we just ran these two here, so we can see prior year versus current year with RPO breakout, prior year versus current year with revenue analysis, and we can go back and visit those or clone them at any time. So I hope that was helpful and interesting for you. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, info@bridgetown.ai, or reach out to me personally. And there's nothing that I love talking about more than helping people use bridging techniques to run their business better. That's all for now. Bye.